Well, happy Father's Day to all the fathers out there. I hope everyone's doing well this Sunday morning, and I hope everybody's going to be able to get in here and chat in just a little bit. Hey, Jamie. Yeah, happy Father's Day to all the fathers out there. Since you're a single man, I guess, unless you know of something you hadn't told me, I guess you're not a father out there. But Jamie's still single, or used to be. I guess you're still single, aren't you, Jamie? Uh, so you haven't had to worry about getting packs of underwear and ties and a few things like that on Father's Day. That's generally our. As it goes now, I get gift cards. That's generally what the kids get me as gift cards. Yeah, yeah. I mean, I hope they enjoyed today. Yesterday, today is actually my grandson's birthday, but we celebrated it yesterday to give him a unique birthday. So we celebrated his birthday a day early, but actually, in reality, his birthday is today. My brother's birthday was yesterday. Everything. Hey, Jeff, how are you? Yeah, happy Father's Day to you too. You're a father, aren't you, Jeff? Um, yeah, happy Father's Day to you and many more that hopefully will sign in. I hope that uh, everything's going to be a nice day today. It's a little overcast down here. Weather's been hot. Hey, Zach, I'm doing fine. I hope everything's good down under. Have you in here for a few minutes before it gets too late for you. I put a clock on my iPad and a few other things, so I can tell Australia's time and everything. Try to be able to be be cognizant of what different people are going through. It's 9 o'clock. It's 9 o'clock in the morning here, but it's I don't have my clock in front of me, but it's what about 12 o'clock out in Australia right now. It's already Monday for you, isn't it? Good morning, good time. How are you? I hope everybody has a good time today. Uh, I know one thing for certain 11 p.m. Sunday night. Okay, good. Okay, so you're that much difference. Okay, I might have to go back and readjust my Australian clock and everything to make sure I've got that right. Yeah, yeah, yeah. We don't. Yeah, we're in the summer part of the uh, clock and everything now for us at daylight saving time. Yeah, I guess it would be if we're when it goes the other direction would be 2 hours difference, wouldn't we? Because you're going one direction and we're going another direction in the wintertime. If y'all observe daylight saving time too. Yeah. Seven of them. Wow. I didn't realize you had seven children, Jeff. Wow. Well, I hope you're a good father to all of them. I know you should be. Yeah, I'm just a father of two. Hey, James, how are you this morning? Yep, I'm just a father of two. I have a daughter and a son, uh, both of which are in their 50s now. Yeah, my daughter is 53, and my son will turn 51 in 2 weeks, just like me. His birthday is one day before my birthday. He was born one day before my 22nd birthday. And so we get to celebrate together. Steve and I will go out and uh, party a little bit together. Our partying though consists of going to Home Depot or Lowe's or somewhere, and he's wanting to check out a new computer store in Charlotte, I think. So we're probably going to be doing things like that. So that's the wild partying of Steve and I. Your oldest is 43. Okay. Yep. My oldest is 53. And then, like I said, my son will be 51 in just a little less than 2 weeks. And my grandson just turned 19 and knows everything. Yeah. When you're 19, you feel like you know everything until you actually don't. But he's at that age, But he's a good boy. He's studying hard. He's actually going to summer school this summer to pick up on some classes and everything. So he's working hard and trying to be another engineer in the family. He's wanting to be a mechanical engineer. He's going to be a sophomore at almost a junior, really, at NC State this coming fall. So he's working hard. And hopefully he'll be a good student and be a good. I hope he's going to be a good employee someday for somebody that needs a good mechanical engineer. Hopefully he can stay fairly close. I hope anyway. No, well, Trump's not taxing it. Trump's not in. He's not in charge to do anything right now. We hope that he's going to be in charge, but no. Trump wants to work hard for the common man. That's for sure. And I hope that we get enough Americans that will see that. And I think the tide's turning. We got a couple ultra liberal states that are highly populated that they 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 hurt the Republican look. I mean, if you look at a map, if it was geographical, Trump would have it hands down. I mean, you look at 90% of the United States, and as far as the land mass, and Trump will control that. The problem is that the Democrats in these highly populated areas, like New York City, like Philadelphia, uh, like in Detroit, Michigan, and Chicago, LA, and places like that, they're highly liberal, and I don't know why, but they are, and that's where the Democrats get their stronghold, and they carry a lot of electoral votes too because of the population, and that's what happens. Yeah, well, it could be. I don't know. We can only trust what so much on the internet, can't we? I mean, you've got to look at the total amount of news that you get on the internet and then just kind of decipher that yourself and see how much of it you like or dislike or uh, approve or agree upon. I was listening to something yesterday and it was talking about that these so-called fact checkers had checked off on something that Ron DeSantis had said several months ago, which was the truth, but the fact checker said it wasn't the truth. But by the time the truth came around to prove that DeSantis was right and they were wrong, nobody says anything about it. But that's what we've got to worry about in today's society and everything, especially like our border. I mean, for months, well, for years, the Democrats kind of poo-pooed the border. It's not a border crisis until we started shipping the people to New York City, to L.A., and to their problems. Until and one of the best is when they sent it out to Martha's Vineyard. And boy, they got those immigrants off of Martha's Vineyard just like that. They wasn't gonna have them out there with all the rich people. That's for sure. So it's different. Well, you know, flat tax, lower taxes. I mean, we taxes only work when it doesn't penalize the public so much. I mean, right now, I mean, you're penalized in so many ways with taxes. I mean, you got a more or less a value added tax on everything that you purchase. So your consumption, uh, if you got a lot of consumption, then you're going to be overly taxed there. And then if just owning things and retaining things, you're going to be taxed for that. So you're going to be taxed all the way to death. And like they say, death and taxes are the two things you can't escape in this old world, and that's the truth. Yeah, they didn't keep those immigrants up there at Martha's Vineyard, but about 24. I mean, Obama probably got his people up to move them right quick because that's where Obama's got his summer home. You know, he's got so many homes and everything now. Now that the poor guy from Chicago is filthy rich, you know. Yeah, I know. I've seen some of the taxes they've got in Australia, and you know, and Australia was doing good until you know, now that they got control of all your guns and everything, or the majority of them out there, you know, they locked y'all down. They locked Australia down worse than anything during the pandemic, and you know, they criminalized people out there that even got out of their houses or whatever. So, you know, I don't want the U.S. to get to that point. I mean, Australia has a very similar government up to a point, and then ours kicks in and is a little bit better, in my opinion. The Canada and Australia both showed their hand during the pandemic and showed how they can be an authoritarian government. Uh, and I don't like that. And I don't ever want to see the United States get to that point where they almost did. I mean, they were shutting down businesses and not letting people operate, but they weren't keeping us from mobility and being able to move and do a few things like Canada and Australia were. They were a little bit tighter than we were. I know we're close. We're close. That's for sure. And that's why we need a strong leader like Trump to get out there and change it back for the better. I mean, if people can't look at what happened the 4 years that Trump was there, had they not, they had his hands tied and he was fighting a battle. He won't have to fight that battle this time if he gets back in. He won't have to worry about impeachment and all this other crap that they pulled the wool over his eyes and kind of they kept him in the dark on some things the first time, but he did get a lot of legislature through. He was able to get our court system in better shape until Biden jumped back in, and he's got it all screwed up again. We got more liberal George Soros type lawyers. I mean, lawyers and prosecutors and judges out there now than we can shake a stick at, and we need to reverse that course as quickly as possible. So it's terrible. Well, I know it, and that's a shame, Zach. I mean that, and we almost did the same thing here in the U.S. There were a lot of people that own gyms and restaurants and and things like that, and we're still seeing the ill effects of that, and what Biden has implemented since then with, you know, raising the minimum wage, and they've got the minimum wage to $20 an hour in California, and we got restaurants closing right and left in California major, I mean, not just mom and pop restaurants, but major chains out there. The people that have 30 and 40 restaurants are having to close them down because they can't afford that kind of labor cost. And it's a crying shame. It is a crying shame what they've done. Well, yep. Well, I know it. We need more Democrats for Trump. See, I used to be a Democrat years ago. The Democrat Party left me, so I went independent. I'm not affiliated with either party, but I can vote for any party. And but yeah, I'm an independent for Trump. Like I said, I'm not a registered Republican. I'm a registered independent, and that gives me more flexibility. That's the reason I did that. I did that because now if I choose to vote in the Democrat primary, and I want to be able to make sure a certain candidate doesn't get in or does get in, whatever, I can choose to vote in that primary, and then when the general election comes around, vote who I want to in the general election. But that gives me more flexibility. So I like that. Well, yeah, that's true, Jeff. And Jeff, you know, you're in California. You know exactly what I'm talking about. There's been a lot of chains. I mean, these chain stores where they got like 15 or 20 restaurants have shut down. There's one kind of famous that just they had it on the five. They were talking about it. We don't have it here on the East Coast, so I'm not readily available uh, to discuss that. But there's one that was pretty famous out there that shut down. And there's been a lot of, like I said, guys that own, 10 or 15 stores or 4 or 5 stores, saw the handwriting on the wall and said, we can't afford this, and shut them down. Oh, okay. I think I know which chicken place. Yeah, that that's sort of like I saw somebody had put up one of these ads or whatever. It says uh, uh, free chicken sandwich at Chick-fil-A on Father's Day. Yeah, try cashing that in. Now, Chick-fil-A has chosen over the years to uh, do the moral thing and the right thing and close on Sunday, which they get ostracized by a lot of people. And Chick-fil-A, like in Atlanta, has a huge. They've got the Chick-fil-A restaurants all the way around in the Atlanta stadium, but they're not open on Sunday. Now they're open there if they have a Saturday game or if there's a college game or whatever, but they don't have it. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Foster's Freeze. Yeah, that's one of the ice cream places. Uh, I don't know if it's exactly taco, but there was another one that has about. I think they had 30 or 40 chain stores in and around California, and they closed their entire chain down. I heard Dana Perina talking about that on Fox and Friend or uh, the Five or whatever, Uh, but yeah, there's a lot of places like that that are going to be impacted that you literally cannot afford it anymore. I mean, when you start figuring what you have to pay, the $20 an hour, plus you've got to do the matching funds for that too. So that employee that's looking like it's costing $20 an hour is actually going to cost that employer about $25 an hour. And then if you weigh that against what your income is, you're probably not going to make any kind of profit. You're probably going to go in the hole by staying open. Yeah, well, McDonald's are they're looking to go more automated. I mean, where you're going to have kiosks, You're not going to have people at the counter anymore. You're going to walk up to a kiosk and punch in what you want, and then go up and somebody will slide a tray out of your food, call your number and say, here it is. And, have fewer and fewer employees. And I would imagine that they're probably trying to implement something like that for the drive-through too. I know some places are already doing that for drive-through. When you call in, you're actually calling to a central location, whereas they got, a phone bank of people that are taking your order at, various different locations. I mean, they're, you're not, they're, the person taking your order basically is not even in that restaurant. They're somewhere in a central location somewhere. Yeah. But, you're going to see more and more people displaced because of that minimum wage law. I mean, minimum wage is entry level cost. I mean, when I hire somebody here, I generally, I'm way above minimum wage. I mean, minimum wage 7.25. If I hire somebody in the shop, I generally start somebody off $10 to $12 an hour, just as a regular, worker, because I feel like the type jobs that I would have here would be worthy of having a better than a minimum wage. But that's up to the employer. What can he afford? I mean, what can he do? And some people can do it, some people can't. So that's what we're up against. That's what we're up against. So we'll see. I do hope that we'll be smart enough to get somebody like Trump and some Republicans in the House and Senate to help him. I mean, that's the other key thing. I mean, people keep talking about, we got to get Trump in. We got to get Trump in. That's great, but don't forget your local government also, because that's very, very important. Yeah. Well, I know what they don't want to. They don't want you to give them any kind of scripture or anything on anything. If you project your religious beliefs, you're hated for that, and that's crazy. I mean, I, anybody, anybody can tell me what they want to believe in, whether I believe it or not. That's my right and my privilege to do myself. So it is what it is. Yeah, yeah, everything. Yeah. Now, what is it? Let me hold on. I'm gonna skip my ads there. I don't. They flash me where I can skip ads, so I don't want to throw ads in there when I don't have to, especially for the live broadcast. If they're watching it on replay, I don't. It doesn't matter to me, but I have to. I'm trying to watch that now, so I don't have people tuning out because of ads, because that can be disrupting. And when I'm doing a live broadcast, I want to be able to be un, un, uninterrupted. It's hard to say sometimes, isn't it? Yeah, it's terrible to see how much inflation has killed us in the past 3 years. I mean, people that you hear all these people talk, oh well, he's done all these great things. He's given all these, he's relieved these college loans. Well, that didn't help me. That didn't help 99% of the people out there. That helped a select few people that wants to bellyache because they signed up for a loan that they shouldn't have to begin with, to get a worthless piece of paper that says they're educated more than the rest of us. I mean, that's what you get with that. I don't like that one bit. Hey, how are you doing, Patrick? Glad to see you jump in here. Oh me. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, if I can continue to watch that, it comes up on the corner down here on the left, and I can delete those if I catch them. I think I'm deleting them. I don't know. I'm not on the other end of it, so I can't tell. I just grab it when I can. No, college debt relief didn't help anybody, the common person. I mean, it actually put a more of a burden on the rest of us. I mean, think about it. The guy that, well, like myself, I've never had a college loan. I paid for the community college, but I paid for it. And, when I got out and started going into debt for business, the government didn't come along and say, well, we're gonna help you pay for some of these trucks that you had to go out and buy because we feel like that's a burden on you and you've got that big payment you have to pay. So they didn't do that for some reason or other. They didn't buy a single tractor trailer truck for me. I can't understand that because I had some loans that were pretty hefty too. I mean, at one time I was up in the millions owed on trucks, probably close half a million, well, probably close to a million at one time. And I was doing that because I had a business and I had a huge debt and all that sort of stuff. I mean, when you get, I had lots of employees, another huge debt. I mean, my payroll was running, I think at the peak, somewhere around 60,000 a week. And that's a lot of money to pay out each week just in payroll. And then my fuel cost was running me upwards of $40,000, $50,000 a week. So when you've got things like that going on, that's the type person that the government needs to help and help by lowering the taxes on them and the regulations on them and things like that, things that don't impact the average person. But no, what do? They go out for the poor college person who bought in on getting an art degree that's probably useless, and he's probably working at McDonald's or Chick-fil-A or somewhere because his degree is worthless, but yet he's having to pay back $120,000 to make sure that he is able to stand there at McDonald's and tell you how much smarter he is than you because he has a 4-year degree. At the same time that he feeds you with the sausage and egg biscuit for breakfast. But that's how warped our society is right now. I mean, we are definitely warped up, and we have got what my grandfather used to say: "Don't mind that person right there. He is educated way." And I've always remembered what Grandpa said about that because I always thought that was so truthful in so many ways to so many people that you see out there, and everybody knows them. Everybody has that guy that seems to know everything, but he has got no kind of job or has a very unimportant job, but he has a degree on the wall that states that he went 4 years, paid an exorbitant amount of money to get this piece of paper to say that he's more intelligent than you, although you are probably his boss. And that's what we get into sometimes. Yeah, can't wait, can we? Yeah, I hope November. I don't wish my life away, but I would hope that things go appropriately for the smart people. And in 142 days, and I hope 142 days from now, we can report back to Zach that we have got a new president. And that's my hope. And I hope everybody out there will agree with me. I know not everybody will, but I hope a lot of people will. I'll tell you one thing I found out last week. You don't put Trump in the title of your line on YouTube. because as most people will you can go back and kind of review it. Last week, Donald Trump Jr. was actually in Shelby, North Carolina, which is just about 10 or 12 miles from where I'm at. And they were at a restaurant that I frequent a lot, Bridges Barbecue. And that was sort of the buzz when I got in there. The waitresses came up to me and said, "Oh, yeah, we had a celebrity here a while ago. Donald Trump Jr. was here." And so I put that in my byline or the header last week and got zero. Not nobody signed on for 5 or 6 minutes. I'm going, what's going on? I had to sign off, re-sign on with a new title that didn't have Trump's name in it. And then people started catching up with me. But it was so bizarre. I said, something is strange. The algorithm from YouTube evidently doesn't, they're not going to reward you. They're going to penalize you. They're, by putting Trump's name in the title, they just shut me down. I mean, shut it down completely. Like I said, for 6 minutes, I was sitting out there talking to myself, and nobody on the chat room side, I didn't get the first person that came on. And I go, well, that shows you right quick that algorithm that they have out there will penalize you if you put Trump in it, on especially a live broadcast, because they don't want anything in their power to help Trump in any way, shape, or form. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it is crazy. It's crazy how they can do that. And if you think I'm wrong, just, I mean, you can go back and look at what I did. And I was kind of mumbling along. I'm going, well, nobody's going to sign. I mean, I'm looking at it. The chat box, as y'all see, lights up pretty good over there, and everybody is chatting back and forth. But the chat box was empty, not a single person. And you can go back and review that. And it's about 6 or 7 minutes long. And for the whole 6 or 7 minutes, nobody, zero person chatted with me over there. So, and then, generally speaking, as soon as I sign on, within just seconds, people start chatting and coming in on a usual Sunday morning. But this one, and like I said, well, maybe I just got in here too early, or just said this or whatever, and I'll let it catch up or whatever. But no, zero. I mean, that is such a crazy scenario that you get into, but that shows you where our government is, and that shows you where our technology is, and how much some of these big tech companies, they want to make their agenda the only agenda that you can adhere to. I mean, they definitely tip the scales in the favor of the liberal. Yeah, they weren't, I guess they thought I was going to do clickbait or something by using a Trump name or something. I don't know what it was, but they shut it down. I mean, they completely shut it down. They didn't have they didn't have the first leniency at all about, I mean, if I was going to use the word Trump in my title, they were going to say, nope, you're not going to use the word Trump. We're going to shut you down. We're not going to let anybody see this at all. And they didn't. Now, it actually, when it went ahead and published, and then people got to see it and everything, and I got some clicks on it and everything after the fact. But as far as a live chat, I mean, it completely shut it down. They were not going to let me discuss anything at the beginning that have anything with Trump on it. I guess they figure somebody would see Trump in that title and they would automatically, come on there because of that. But I mean, I was just trying to make a statement to say what had actually happened. I wasn't trying to clickbait anything. I wasn't trying to use that as a way to boost my channel, but instead it had the opposite effect. That's for sure. They shut it down completely, and that's scary that they can do that. That's scary that they can just arbitrarily shut you down and keep you from speaking to anybody because basically, I mean, for those 6 or 7 minutes, nobody was talking, nobody was signing in, and people said they weren't getting my notification until I signed out and re-signed in. Did they get any of the notification that I was online at all? So all the regular people, like most of y'all guys, couldn't even see any kind of notification that I was online. So that in itself is really scary that big tech can do that to us. But what do we do? I mean, I'm grateful that I can at least convey my thoughts and everything and come across on a Sunday morning the way I want to. But in reality, anytime they want to cut me off, they can do it in a split second and shut me down, and I can't do anything. So you want to get your message across, but you have to kind of tippy toe around like you got landmines out there, and you got to tippy toe around so you don't step on one of the big tech landmines because they at any point can go boom, you're gone. But it is what it is. What can you say? Uh, well, that now that I had two. I don't know which video. The first one they did on the second one, but they didn't on the first one though, James. I don't think I had a single person that clicked in on the first one at all. I mean, I don't think there was a single chat on that unless they did it well, they couldn't have after the fact. Go look at the first one. Hilarious that they did that. I mean, I've got people after the fact that saw the video and everything, and somebody made comments on the comments line, but on the actual chat line, I don't think there was anybody. I think it was zero. Oh, did you? Okay. Well, I mean, I didn't see anybody. I mean, I couldn't see it on my end if it was, but I mean, I basically shut it down and then brought it back up with a different header and got it back in. But they definitely they either squeezed it or shut it down. I don't know what you would say, James. Uh, they squeezed it to death because Jamie didn't sign in, Zach didn't sign in, Joey, you didn't. A lot of people that are generally in there did not even sign in or click in or anything, and it was too many. It was too many coincidences, I would say. Uh, but they may have not shut it down completely, but they definitely put a squeeze on it, so nobody could see it or whatever. I don't know, but regardless, I mean, we like I said, we have to live with it and everything. Just like I got to live with the repairs I got to get done on this Jeep back here. We're pounding away on that slowly but surely. Now we're working on the brakes and the hubs. We're trying to get some new hubs for it, but they're on national back order right now. But we're working on it. Well, okay. Maybe that's what it was. I don't know. Hey, TJ, how are you? Yeah, it's a whole different it's a whole different world out there when you're penalized from chatting or whatever. I mean, like I said, I don't know what happened on that, James. It was just uh, it was it was strange enough to me. And like I said, and the only correlation that I could come up with would be the fact that I used Trump Jr.'s name in the title. And maybe when they saw that, that it alarmed an algorithm to say, we're not going to let him be visualized by XYZ or whatever. I don't know. We don't know what happens on behind the lines. All we can do is kind of look at the uh, secondary type situation, or look at the result. The normal results would have been XYZ, and here's what was happening, and what made that happen is what I'm saying. I don't know. Yeah, some YouTube guy in the background got alarmed or live thing go out. Yeah, that's what I'm saying, Walter. I mean, it was crazy. It was crazy how that happens. But you know, I guess that taught me a lesson. Don't use Trump in the title. Uh, if you use Trump in the title, they'll probably shut you down or or penalize you, so you can't be seen or not send your notifications out or whatever. No, I sent the Reynolds skid steer back Friday. I sent it back Friday, and I actually, what I did, Jamie, I went out and bought me a new piece of equipment. Rutt Manufacturing actually makes and had I seen this before I rented all this, I would have done this, because that rental was expensive, very expensive. But I've got that attachment coming for my skid steer, so I'll be able to use it. Although I used the heck out of theirs and beat it up, I put it through the paces, to try to see what all it would do, and I took it over to my uh, property over on the west side of town, where I have the Napa store. Well, where I own the Napa building. I don't own the franchise anymore. Most people know that, but I do own the building, and I got about 7 acres, 7 or 8 acres out there. And I went out there, and it's in the back section. It was beginning to grow up a little bit with some scrub trees and a few things like that. Because I've owned the property, about 6 years now, 5 or 6 years that I've owned the property. And during that time, I haven't bush hogged or anything out there. Haven't had the time to bush hog. So those little, you know how these little sweet gums and cedars and everything else will start popping up everywhere, and that's what was happening out there. So I got out there and used that skid steer and the mulcher out there, and it did a pretty good job. It did a pretty good job. It does great until you hit barbed wire. I can tell you that, or until you hit uh, an old tire with an old rim and a tire. Uh, I clogged it up. I came to a screeching halt on some of those a couple of times. Had to take my time and clean it up. Yeah, yeah. The um, those mulchers do their job. They're really good. They I was impressed. Other mulcher, and it actually came from this Rutten manufacturer. It's more of a disc type, and you can get low to the ground and cut the trees off right at the ground level. The mulcher actually just mulches everything up really good, and I like that aspect of it. They both have their good points and bad points, so it is what it is. Yeah, give me a likes out there, guys. Give me some of those likes. That helps the algorithm. So if you give me a thumbs up, let's see, does that thumbs up work without my other camera? It does not will do that, does it? When I use the Apple phone, it will, which I hadn't been able to do lately. I'm not getting the background stuff like that. Well, it is a mulcher. It looks just like the one I rented, only it's low flow. It'll my T300 is not high flow, but it will run just as good as the high flows do. And so that's what I'm shooting for. You can go on RUT Manufacturing, and you'll see what I'm talking about. They show that. Uh, they've got some demos and some YouTube videos of people using them, and that's what I bought. So to give you an idea, and that they're expensive. They're expensive. I mean, this was right at $20,000 for this attachment. So it's not a cheap proposition, but when you go out and you pay $9,000 for a month's rental of a mulcher and a skid steer, that's what my rental was. It was I paid 9050, I believe, was tax and all. So almost $9,100 is what it cost me to, and I went and picked it up and brought it back. So I saved myself on transportation costs, but then I had to, refuel it and everything too. So there was a lot of expense. It was $9,100. That's what it cost. That's why I was using it night and day. And unfortunately, though, I didn't get to use it as much as I wanted to because I had that breakdown in my system, and I had that diverticulitis a couple of weeks ago, which knocked me out for about a week or so. I couldn't do anything. So that month's rental didn't pay off as good as I was hoping it would. Yeah. Yeah. That's what it cost. It was right at $9,100 for the skid steer and the mulcher. And I bought this attachment for right at 20. So I feel like, well, I wish I'd been smart enough to not have rented the other, but yeah, I know it. It's only money, guys. That's what I keep trying to tell myself, but I got a lot of work done with it. I mean, if you saw what I got accomplished, you'll understand. But if you're between a rock and a hard place, if you hire somebody to do that, it's almost $3,000, $3,500 a day to get that done. So you can hire somebody and let them do 2 or 3 days of work and see how much gets accomplished, or you can do it yourself and have a whole month of it. So I chose to do the latter. And had I found this other piece first, I probably would have done that first because I have a mulcher. I had an import mulcher, and it just doesn't cut. Oh God, the ads are coming in. I didn't catch them quick enough. So the guys that don't have the regular stuff, the ads are going to come through. But I'll slow down here a little bit since I didn't, like I said, I try to catch these ads, but I saw the thing where it says ads inserted. So I didn't catch it quick enough. I try to keep that off, but it is what it is. So hopefully they won't have a lot of long commercials and people will get back. We'll see. Don't click off just because of ad. Watch. I hope they put a very good ad on your feed or whatever. But we'll see. When you're monetized, you have to. I mean, you can click through and not do, but I'm probably lose customers there during the commercial. They'll click off and do something else. And I'm seeing it drop. But that's the name of the game. That's the name of the game. But I'm going to getting ready to get off anyway. I've kind of said my piece this morning, and hopefully everybody is agreeable. So I'm going to sign off. So for those, if you're just coming back from a commercial, whatever, I'm going to I'm gonna sign off and catch y'all next week, and I'm gonna get back to work on things down here. See you guys.